it was wonderful to work with them, and I feel like really lucky to have gotten to work with them. Mas era Fernanda Torres, era assim a atriz que eu tinha na minha mente.
Tudo bem, Bernardo?
Tudo bem, tudo bem.
Um prazer te conhecer, muito bom estar aqui conversando contigo. Mais um brasileiro aqui fazendo as coisas acontecerem no mundo do entretenimento. Eu
Tentando.
adoro, 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 adoro. So, mas a gente vai misturar o inglês com o português. Então, let's start from the beginning. What was like the main inspiration for the script?
Ih, então a gente vai começar com o inglês ou vai? Ou não? The main inspiration. Oh, there's so many different ideas. It was, from things as serious as someone that I was close to being diagnosed with a terminal illness to also being in Miami writing the Metro Mover. OMNI Loop refers to one of the loops that the Metro Mover in Miami does. And I was on there and it just goes in this loop. And I was thinking about the name and I was thinking about time travel and all these things. I've had the idea for time travel pills for so long, and all these different things just kind of like came together at where I was at that point in my life where I was 27, 28, and it felt like for the first time like the choices that I was making, they were becoming permanent. They felt more important than they had in the past, where I could just make mistakes when I was when I was 20 years old, I could just make mistakes. But as you get older, it was like, oh, the person that I'm with might be the person I marry, and the city that I'm in, every movie that I make, like that's going to be however many years. And I was just thinking more seriously about what I wanted my life to be. And at the same time, I saw my parents thinking about the choices that they had made now that the kids were sort of like all grown up and my dad was retiring and all these things. And they felt like similar sides of the same coin, me kind of looking towards the future and them kind of like looking to the past. And so I wanted to make a movie that was about that in some way, that had, you know, questions about anxiety and uncertainty of the future, but also kind of regret and guilt and all that, but do it in a fun time travel way.
Yeah, and also like if you different decisions that we make throughout our lives, and
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's crazy. And Miami, I lived in Miami for 16 years, and I used to live close by the
The
OMNI Loop, and
Yeah.
especially that station, the Bayside one. When I was like, oh
Uh-huh.
my God, that's so good.
Yeah,
Brought
because
me.
I don't drive. So when I'm in Miami, I'm taking the bus, I'm taking the Metro Mover, I'm taking city bikes, I'm taking everything. So I also relied on that Metro Mover, and it's free, and everyone should go on it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We used to live there and it was amazing. Now we are here since 2016. And I bet you that changed a lot, especially in downtown Miami. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
we were almost shot this movie. We ended up shooting it in 2022. We almost shot it in 2018, 2019. And so we had scouted locations. And then when we went back to shoot it, now there were huge skyscraper buildings. And we're like, oh, this used to be a lot where we were going to do this scene. And so it was funny, even in those few years, the locations changed completely.
Amazing. And to find the perfect actresses, Mary-Louise and Ayo, both are very, very powerful on the screen. And how was like to find them and what was about them that got your attention?
I mean, yeah, I think it was that I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. Io, I was such a fan of her comedies and just seeing her and hearing her on podcasts and things like that. I always just thought she was a hilarious comedian. And then when she started acting on The Bear, I was like, oh, she's also an incredible actor. I had no idea. And Mary Louise, similarly, I had seen her on stage on Broadway a couple times, and she was incredible. If you ever get a chance to see her on stage, it's like she really blows you away. And I loved her in Angels in America, and I just thought she had that kind of characteristic where she could do both the humor of it all, but also the kind of intensity or the seriousness of it. And yeah, it was wonderful to work with them, and I feel like really lucky to have gotten to work with them. It's funny too, because falando de ser brasileiro, eu escrevi o filme escrevendo personagens brasileiros. Era inspirado na minha mãe, A Paula é o nome das minhas primas, Paula Campos. Então foi engraçado depois traduzir esses personagens para atores americanos, porque, né, pro finance, pro dinheiro e tudo. E também eu fui só pensando quem seria bom para os personagens, menos pensar, né, quem é brasileiro ou não, mas espero que algum dia eu possa fazer um filme com atores brasileiros em português no
É, com
Brasil.
certeza. Eu ia te perguntar se você tinha pensado em alguma atriz brasileira para fazer as
Eu tinha
personagens.
pensado, a atriz ideal, olha, ninguém gosta de falar isso porque aí você pensa em outras coisas, mas a gente nunca fez uma oferta, mas era Fernanda Torres, era assim, a atriz que eu tinha na minha mente, mas eu acho que ela não atua em inglês, então a gente nem pensou nisso, porque o filme era realmente. Eu já estou nos Estados Unidos já faz 25 anos, então eu estou aqui faz muito tempo. Então. Eu sabia que era tudo, era uma família que morava em Miami, é uma família meio americana. Mas Fernanda Torres era para mim assim a pessoa perfeita, 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 perfeita e eu quero muito ver o novo filme dela.
Ah, eu também. Tô muito, muito. Não vejo a hora. Não vejo a hora de assistir. Muito feliz. Another thing that is very important to the movie is the editing part. That it's very important. And I think if the editing was the pace of the editing wasn't there, I think that the movie is gonna be a whole different thing. What was like the biggest challenge there, like the editing the way that you did?
Biggest challenge was working with the editor because he's a really just stubborn, annoying person. No, I was the editor. I edited it myself. So the biggest challenge with the editing is actually just keeping perspective on the movie because having written it and having been on set and directed all of it, you just start to lose perspective of like, is this working? Is this not? But a lot of that rhythm of the edit it was something that I've developed over years, having done animation and short films and things like that. I had sort of developed this rhythm of fast and slow, or quick cuts that then you sort of open up into a wide shot or something like that. And I think specifically for stories that deal with time, it's very fun because I was trying to capture the way our thought processes work when we are in those moments of anxieties or before we go to sleep at night we're like, oh, should I have done this, should I have dated that person instead, should I not have moved to New York at this point, and that sort of jumping around all over the place. I wanted to do something like that where it just felt like time existed all at once, rather than in a sort of very traditional way until a certain point where, or a certain scenes where the characters are more present and they're more connecting with each other. And then hopefully those scenes, the movie is able to kind of settle down and really sit with those two characters as people.
Yeah, was amazed with the editing, like, and there's some
Thank you.
moments to get the pace, you know what I mean? So I was like,
Oh, I know. I worked for a very long time on every one of those, and sometimes it's like I would watch the movie and I'd be like, I think we have to go one frame shorter on that one shot of her pressing a button. So took a long time. It was like a year of editing it, and it was I went a little crazy.
yeah, yeah. And then you see, and then got the you narrative spotlight, the South by Southwest, like was one
Yeah,
of the nominees,
yeah,
and I think she was nominated for editing because it's kind
yeah.
of
Some
a
editing.
yes, yes. And Bernardo, are you already like working in your next project, or you still
Yeah.
like
I'm
still
I'm
working on this one? Like,
I'm working on always a bunch of different things at once. I'm really excited now because it was a long time shooting the movie, and then just in the pre-production it was a long time. Like I feel like all of 2022 was just spent on, we were going to shoot it in July and then we got pushed to September, and it was all just like spent on making the movie. And then 2023 was literally from January 2024 I was just editing the movie. So in that time a lot of ideas kind of like, it's like a dam, and the editing the movie kind of stopped all the ideas back, and now I feel like the dam has kind of burst, and I'm able to work on all the ideas that I've had over the past few years. So I'm really writing a bunch of stuff, probably too many things at this time right now. And then yeah, I always have TV things and animated things, live action things. Trying to do something different from the sort of science fiction world, but then I can't help myself sometimes. Sometimes then I'll think of an idea and be like, oh. But yeah, right now I have two ideas. One is a little bit more science fiction-y, and the other takes place in Brazil. So hopefully I get to make up those. Yeah.
That's good. And só para a gente terminar, e o que você pensa dos brasileiros, né, que estão entrando em Hollywood? E o que você pensa do cinema brasileiro atualmente?
Cinema brasileiro atualmente, eu acho que tá bem exciting para mim. O Gabriel Mascaro, que fez Boi Neon, adorei, amei aquele filme. Kleber Mendonça Filho, amei o último documentário dele, Retratos Fantasmas, achei um filme perfeito. Aquários, eu acho que é um dos melhores filmes brasileiros que já foi feito. Eu acabei de ir aqui em Nova York, eles estão tendo Isso é Brasil, uma retrospectiva do cinema brasileiro, eu fui ver Bye Bye Brasil. Então eu tava... Pra mim, o cinema brasileiro nesse momento tá voltando a ser o que já foi um dia, que eu acho que nos últimos anos, assim, entre Central do Brasil, Cidade de Deus, Ônibus 174, Carandiru, e agora eu acho que teve uma década ali onde meio que desapareceu do cinema, do circuito internacional, e agora tá voltando. E também tem muitos brasileiros, Wagner Moura atuando no Civil War, achei ele também ótimo no filme. E eu também gostaria de ver mais estrangeiros fazendo filme no Brasil também, e brasileiros fazendo filme aqui nos Estados Unidos, e mais filmes brasileiros nos festivais em Cannes, em Berlim, Veneza. Mas eu acho que é um momento que eu sinto, a gente foi apoiado também, esse filme foi apoiado pelo Latino Film Institute, Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival, e foi muito legal ir lá com todos os outros latinos, que também não é só, você pensa no cinema brasileiro, mas também como o cinema existe no contexto de filmes latino-americanos. E eu acho que, não sei, estou otimista pro futuro.
Estamos todos. Sim. Bernardo, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Muito obrigada. A lot of success. Muito sucesso para você e nos seus próximos filmes. E o canal está sempre aberto aqui para você. We are always open to promote your movies. Thank you so much.
Obrigado.
Ciao. If you like to support or continue to support Jana on Camera, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share the videos.